All right, now, our least favorite, well, let me rephrase that. One of our least favorite Democrat politicians has been exposed recently, and things are going downhill for her in a major way. Why? Because she's one of these loudmouth Democrat politicians. She's actually one of the loudest speakers on that side. She's always calling somebody out, and she's one of the most recently members of the Democrat Party to want to personally challenge the president. As a matter of fact, we're talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, better known as AOC. And as we know, AOC has gained her seat as, portraying herself as this tough Bronx girl, this Hispanic Latina from the Bronx who don't take nothing from nobody, baby, trying to get her like J-Lo on. Except for one thing she never expected to happen, which was that her past would actually come back to haunt her. Because one of the things that we're realizing about the Democrat politicians, they are as fake as a $4 bill. Doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, most of these people have made up pasts. Let's take Jasmine Crockett, for example. She's this neck-waving ghetto queen Congress member that represents the district in Dallas, Texas. She's not even from Texas. She's from St. Louis, Missouri. And then she portrays herself as this ghetto talking from the hood sister who worked her way up. No, she comes from a very well-established black family. As a matter of fact, she grew up going to private schools. Nothing wrong with private school. I went to private school for 2 years in the 6th and in the 8th grade. And then I went to a college prep high school. Nothing wrong with that. But I don't walk around portraying myself as a gangster thug either. Well, she portrays herself as this ghetto queen who ain't taking nothing from nobody. But it's all fake. As a matter of fact, if you ever heard Jasmine Crockett speak when she was a state representative before she became a member of Congress in D.C., she was so well-spoken and she was just so articulate. And she actually spoke like a Black Valley girl. And so how she adopted all this ratchetness is beyond me. It's almost like she's cosplaying as how she portrays Black women, because my mother and my sisters don't speak that way. But back to the Puerto Rican princess, Alexandria Cortez, and I'm going to get into this article, but I want to show you some of these real quick. Number one, here is her high school yearbook picture. And as you see, it says, despite her Bronx girl claims, AOC graduated from suburban Yorktown High School in 2007 as Sandy Cortez. Don't sound like some Spitfire Latina from the Bronx with the name Sandy, when her name is Alexandria. So this is her. As a matter of fact, we got something else to show you, because somebody might be saying, well, Brian, she might have, been saying the Bronx because it's so close to Yorktown. Right here, I have a map for you. And this map is going to show you just how far. And as you see, this is Yorktown Heights. You got a whole lot of things: Pleasantville, North Castle, Mount Kisco, Bedford. Show you where the Bronx is on this. As you can see, you pretty much got to travel throughout the entire state of New York almost. Get all the way down here. Oh, there's the Bronx, right outside of Yonkers, right next to New York City. So can you really make a mistake and call yourself a Bronx girl when you really grew up in Yorktown? Now, did AOC move to the Bronx? Yes, she did, as an adult. Like, I've lived in Jacksonville. I don't live in Jacksonville now. I still live in Florida, but I live outside of Jacksonville in the city called Ocala. But I went to college, played basketball, ended up playing ball, went to Florida, ended up in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, when I got to Jacksonville, I was 19 or 20 years old, and meeting my children's mother, starting my family and all of that there. So as an adult, I was in Jacksonville. For me to run around and tell people, yeah, I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. I was born and raised in Florida. I'm a Florida man. That would be a lie. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. And then as an adult, I ended up moving to Jacksonville, Florida. So for her to call herself a Bronx girl when she was something like in her 20s, when she moved to the Bronx, and that waitressing job that she had to act like she just had it so hard. What college student didn't take part-time jobs, maybe waiting some tables and doing some stuff to make ends meet? But this whole story of like rags to riches is BS. As a matter of fact, before I get back to the article, Benny Johnson, I'm not sure if you're familiar with who Benny Johnson is, but Benny Johnson is a well-respected YouTuber, political figure, whatever you want to call him. I really like Benny. And Benny did a documentary actually about where AOC is from. So I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I do want to play you a little piece of it to kind of back up what it is that I'm explaining to you. And then I'm going to get back into the article. But here's why this is so important. because she putting up posts to President Trump, you know, Bronx girls eat Queens guys for breakfast. Her whole shtick is this whole Bronx girl. But why the lie? What is it in her past she's hiding? Could it be the fact that she spent this, and I saw this on somebody else's post, AOC spent about as much time in the hood as Elizabeth Warren spent at Little Bighorn as an Indian, as a Native American, which means it didn't happen. So what she's doing is she's playing on the actual pain and the struggle of real people and playing on their emotions. See, understand something. As human beings, and you probably already know this, as human beings, we make our decisions based 90% off of emotion, and then we back them up or justify them with 10% logic. Why do you think politicians play to emotions first rather than logic? Why do you think great companies that have good marketing teams play towards your emotion? I'll give you an example. It's like, let's just take a burger commercial. Rather than saying it's made with 100% beef and our lettuce is getting from an organic garden, our tomatoes are the, nope. What do? If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I will never do anything like ask you for a cash app or a super chat, but you hitting that like button, it really helps. It helps spread the information out. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And whether you're already subscribed or you're going to subscribe right now, make sure that you hit the notification bell and turn on all, because YouTube doesn't notify every time videos are being uploaded, and people want to be notified. So make sure whether you're subscribing now or already subscribed, hit your notification bell and select all. That way you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Thanks. They showed a person taking a bite, just acting like it was just better than sex. And you know the phrase that it says, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So why the person eating and making that face like, oh, it's melting? Because they know that will trigger an emotional response, which will make a person more likely to want to go buy it than the logical that says, dude, that's McDonald's. Don't be fooled. That crap may have pink slime in it. It's just what it does. Or the person cracking open a beer, taking a swig of the cold one, said, oh, like all life's problems just melted away with the drink of that cold beer. When logically, you drink too many of those, you're going to jail for a DUI, you're going to get fat, and it's not really that good for you. But damn, boy, why somebody go, and all of a sudden, you know, women around playing volleyball and everybody's having the time of their life when this cold one is preying on emotions. And successful politicians and good, whether you think this is good or bad, they know how to prey and play on the emotions. And I won't even say of weak-minded people, because we all base our decisions somewhat like that. But some of us has learned a trick where it's like, okay, I will not base my decisions off of emotions. That's what leads to incorrect decision. When you make emotional based decisions, whether it's a vote, whether it's a purchase, you tend to sometimes regret that. So when you see that somebody's really trying to trigger you emotionally, you have to ask yourself, why? What is it about what you're speaking about you don't want me to really experience? Why are you trying to gas me up on this? And so that's what she did on her whole Bronx girl stick. That's how she was elected, because they thought that they could relate to her. Little did they know, they relate to her about as much as Elizabeth Warren relates to Native Americans. But without further ado, let me get off into this Benny Johnson. I'm just going to play a minute or two of it, and then I'm going to get back into this article. So stay with me. And you know what? I'm going to put this one on full screen so you can get the full gist of it.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Bronx. This is where AOC says she's from. And this is where AOC is actually from. Welcome to Yorktown, the business hamlet of Yorktown Heights. There's mansions everywhere. It's beautiful, it's green, it's pristine, it's clean. And they even have a Christopher Columbus Society. I thought AOC got all those statues ripped down. Some structural racism right here in AOC's hometown. Today we're going to investigate the biggest lie in all of politics, the fraud of AOC. Let's go.
This is the Bronx. The Bronx is a gritty, working-class, hardscrabble, historic borough of New York City. AOC is a communist who represents the Bronx in Congress. She's not just a rising star in the Democrat Party, she is the Democrat Party. Clearly preparing for a 2028 run, AOC is breaking fundraising records and filling stadiums to hype her Bronx girl persona.
I'm a girl from the Bronx.
AOC won her seat in Congress in 2018 by attacking her establishment Democrat opponent as not being sufficiently from the Bronx.
That a Democrat who takes corporate money, doesn't live here, doesn't send his kids to our schools, doesn't drink our water, cannot possibly represent us.
AOC reflexively repeats that she's from the Bronx and a Bronx girl.
I speak like a girl from the block.
And again.
I grew up first generation in the Bronx.
And again.
Girls from the Bronx are welcome everywhere.
So often that it's almost a pathology. In fact, AOC just pulled the Bronx girl card again this week, responding to President Trump, saying she would eat a Queens boy like Donald Trump for breakfast.
I don't think he knows how to deal with a girl from the Bronx.
Something's very wrong here. What functional adult repeats where they're from this often? Someone who's lying. And here's the dirty little secret. AOC is not actually from the Bronx. Since AOC was an infant, her family has lived in a beautiful little hamlet called Yorktown Heights. This little town is the opposite of AOC's gritty, downtrodden, working-class persona. It's clean and beautiful and safe. The neighborhood that AOC grew up in is well off, leafy and manicured. AOC went to elementary, middle, and high school here. She graduated from Yorktown High, where she went by the name Sandy Cortez. And then she graduated Boston University with an economics degree. Since AOC is about to run for president, we thought it would be important to investigate the town that gave America its most famous communist.
I want to pause this real quick, and I want to take this back just to show you something real fast, to show you what type of propaganda these people do. She doesn't even have cuffs on. She's not being arrested. Look at her with her arms behind her back for the photo ops. Just pay attention to her wrist. You'll realize there's no cuffs there.
Since AOC is about to run for president, we thought it would be important to investigate the town that gave America its most famous communist.
This is not the Bronx. As you can see here, this is the leafy, beautiful Parkway suburbs. Is that a golf course? Oh, it's gorgeous. What a pleasant and wonderful drive. I feel like I'm on my way to Pleasantville. Very much looking forward to finding out where AOC's from.
After a 90-minute drive from New York City, we finally got to Yorktown Heights. Check out this beautiful entry to the city. Trees lining the road, some mansions, beautifully manicured lawns, American flags. This looks like an awesome place to be from. You get out of the car and you find something like this.
Welcome to the capitalist horrors of AOC's Yorktown Heights Patriot State Park. You can see here a Veterans Memorial Circle that's been beautifully tended and groomed, a lot of American flags, and a lot of honor for our great nation. Really, just a terrifying place to grow up here. I hear that there are miles of luscious trails going through the forest here. Boy, you can understand why you'd become a communist growing up in a hood like this.
So I'm gonna stop it right there, because you get the gist. And if you want to see the rest of it, what I'll do is I'll post a link to the actual documentary that he did. It's only like 12 minutes in the description of the video, so you can go check out the rest of it. But that is the fraud that we dealing with when we rocking with these people. Anybody that's supporting these people don't realize you're supporting a fraud. They are not who they say they are. So let's get into this article, because this whole thing has AOC frazzled. She has been posting left and right trying to beat this back, because it's been growing and growing. Benny's documentary has been seen by something like millions of people, like over 10 million people now. And not to mention the other people that are reposting it, retweeting it, and sharing it. So her back is against the wall because her whole facade is crumbling, just like Jasmine Crotchett's crumbling, like Kamala Harris crumbling, like Joe Biden crumbling. Trump, the Republican Party, is beating these Democrats back like Rocky, and we're going to keep doing it. But AOC breaks silence on suburban yearbook pic, but still clings to Bronx girl claims, embarrassing herself. Lefty firebrand rep Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Democrat out of New York, spoke out on her suburban high school yearbook pic, but still continued to dodge her Westchester County upbringing. I'm proud of how I grew up and talk about it all the time, AOC said on X Friday. No, she doesn't. My mom cleaned houses and I helped. We cleaned tutors' homes in exchange for SAT prep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's father was well off. They bought their residence, their home, for $150,000. Now, her father passed away, I believe, when she was around 18 or something like that, 17. And her mom had to, fend for herself and keep everything up. AOC went to Boston College or Boston University, and then she moved to the Bronx. So just for we know what's going on. So growing up between the Bronx and Yorktown, and I'm right here, deeply shaped my views of inequality. And it's a big reason I believe the things I do today. Right, Sandy. But the Democratic Congresswoman's Bronx girl claims have repeatedly come under fire with folks in northern Westchester community, remembering her as Sandy Cortez from Yorktown Heights. So this isn't Republicans and Trump just doing this. The way everybody even found out, there was a guy on X that said, yo, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, you from the Bronx. Then why are you in my Yorktown High School yearbook? That's what started it all going. She's embarrassing herself for doing everything possible to avoid saying she grew up in the suburbs instead of the Bronx. State Assemblyman Matt Slater said on Sunday, and he's the Republican from Yorktown. She has said she visited extended family. She has said she commuted, Slater said. Now she's in between. It's clearly desperate attempts to protect the lie that she is from the Bronx. Ocasio-Cortez, who represents part of the Bronx and Queens, traded online barbs with President Trump last week after she called for his impeachment by bypassing Congress on the Iranian strikes. Like Congress is just so great at getting things done. I don't like this woman. She is attractive, but I don't like her. Trump called the liberal firebrand one of the dumbest people in Congress, leading Ocasio-Cortez to rip it to the commander-in-chief in a series of tweets. Also, I'm a Bronx girl. You should know that we can eat Queens boys for breakfast, respectfully, Ocasio-Cortez said in reference to the president's Queens childhood. But he's really from Queens. Ocasio-Cortez was born in the Bronx, but her family moved to Yorktown when she was 5 years old. And she went on to graduate from Yorktown High School in 2007. The left-wing darling, who's 35, has taken heat for her suburban roots since she pulled off an upset win in 2018 to burst onto the national stage. So, folks, there you have it. These folks are frauds all the way across the board. They're fakes, they're phonies, they're frauds, they're whack. And the lamestream media props this up. That's why so many people believe it. The average person on the street don't like this person, but the media wants us to believe everybody supports it, just like that oligarchy tour. They want you to believe that, oh, she was in Republican backyards turning it out. No, she wasn't. Every state, even Republican red states, have counties and districts that are blue. So what they do, they go into a red state, but go into a deep blue district, hold their event and say, oh, I went in the middle of Trump country and rocked it. No, go into a red area and try that. It'll be you, Bernie, and the cleanup crew. But Trump has come into their backyard. He didn't went into the Bronx and held bigger rallies than they could. He didn't went into deep blue areas and just like a magnet sucks all the energy out of the area into his tent. They can't compete. You know why? People forget something about President Trump. He's an older man now and been successful a long time, but they forget. Back in the 60s and the 70s, the Trump family did battle with the mob. And when you in New York and you're in real estate, you learn just how cutthroat it is. Yeah, they may not be out with pow-pows taking each other's lives, but they're destroying each other's lives in a worse way, technically, methodically, and through systems and networks. They'll bleed competitors dry, bankrupt them, take everything from them, and leave them destitute. Yeah, they're not in prison. And it's worse than being dead because they have to live with the shame of the loss. Trump went against that. So when you go against that and you make it out of that, and you got these pansy Rudy Poot politicians that think they're going to run up against a real lion who built businesses, international brands, went up against the government and beat them. And these Rudy Poot pansy, you know what, politicians that talk big, they can't withstand real pressure. Like Ocasio-Cortez crashing out over this. Imagine if she had governments at her, the media saying they hate her, telling lies on her all the time. She might. Many of them might. While Trump withstood it, he actually had somebody try to take his, not voluntarily. Withstood it all, took that, still had to resolve to stand up and say fight, and look where he is now, sitting on top of the hill. So we got to take videos like this. We got to spread this stuff out. More people have to know she's a fake, she's a phony, and she's a fraud. And I wanted to make sure that I brought it here to you so you would know too. And as a matter of fact, if you're still here watching this, I really do appreciate you. And if you haven't already, leave a comment. Make sure you remember to like the video, share the video. Let's get this information out there. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Most importantly, I want to say thank you. And I want you to make sure that you stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.